So I have had my Etsy business for going on about 4 years now, and this is something that I genuinely could not have even fathomed where the Lord would take it, where it would be. I didn't know how long I would be doing Etsy in general. So I thought it would be great to kind of go through what a month looks like and just talking through the numbers, budgeting. I don't really necessarily budget for my business. I more so go through kind of looking at the sales, the expenses, and then plan accordingly from that month to figure out what I'm going to spend for the next month. And the reason is because Etsy is just very inconsistent from what I've found. And if I have a lot of time that I can work on it, that I can add new items, then my sales seem to increase. If I have time where I can put Pinterest pins out and do more content creation, then again, my sales will increase. But if I have some months or times when I don't have the ability to put towards these things, then I do notice that my sales will be less, they'll be lower. So for me, it's easier to just kind of have this. This isn't something that we rely on for an income. Probably gonna hear my daughter playing in the background. And so it's just worked out really well. And so I kind of want to take you through that. But the sheet that I'm going to be using is going to be available for you guys as a freebie in the Google Drive. And you can use it if you want to plan out as far as budgeting for your business and then, comparing it to your actuals at the end of the month. Welcome back if you are new here. My name is Lindsay and I'm here to help you flourish in your faith and your finances through His grace and for His glory. And I thank you guys for tuning in. Love you all so much. And again, I know there's many of you that have an Etsy shop or have YouTube channels, but I also know there's a lot of you that are looking to get into that, maybe thinking about or praying on the idea of opening up an Etsy shop. So again, I felt that this would be something kind of cool just to look into. My camera is being taken. It's so hard because I often forget that she is so mobile and that she's crawling and moving around now. But I really hope that this is an encouraging video, that it kind of gives you just a good breakdown and some things maybe to keep in mind as far as expenses go, if this is something that you are praying about, contemplating, and maybe wanting to start. And again, this is kind of just an overview, maybe average month for me, I would say, and I don't really rely on this income for our family. We do rely completely on my husband's income right now, and Etsy is something that I have just felt very, very called by the Lord to do. So most of that money is going into the supplies and going back into the business. And if there is anything extra or left over, I usually just set that in an account to the side that then I can use to cover possibly more supplies, things like the binders that I started doing and the envelopes. So I like to be able to have that there. And I can also use it then if I want to do giveaways and freebies. So before we dive into the Etsy numbers, I really want to show you my new purchase of the Fomimo thermal label printer. I have waited a long time to purchase one of these, and I'm really glad that I finally decided to grab one because this is going to save me a lot of ink. And it's also just really easy and convenient. I have it hooked up so that I can print it from my computer. There is a Mac connector with a USB cord that you can print right from your computer. You can use the app to make custom little labels like this one, but I've absolutely loved it so far. It's a really small footprint, which I was not expecting. I will say that there is a little bit of a learning curve to it. I had to figure out how to format the Etsy labels in the shipping settings on Etsy, and I also have to use my computer. It doesn't work for the app. When I've tried doing it on the Bluetooth, it just doesn't print out right. So I just plug it in and print right from my laptop, and it has worked out really well this way. Now, if you would like to grab one or maybe a different brand, they are in my Amazon shop, which is linked below. This is a very similar looking sheet. You've probably been familiar with it. However, I did a few tweaks to make this the business budget little by little. I put a different Bible verse. One who is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. And then I did update some of the categories. This is going to be a freebie that y'all can grab in the Google Drive, and I have that linked down in the description. I've also updated it so if there's other freebies in there that you haven't printed out or grabbed yet, you can also take advantage of those. Now, I am writing January because, like I said, this is going to be more so doing a budget assessment or reflection of the actual sales that we had from January. And then I will look to see what we have left, and then that's how I decide what I'm going to spend for the next month. I hope that that makes sense. That's why I decided to go ahead and purchase that thermal label printer, because you'll see I did have some net profit left over. And I like doing it this way. I like to be very conservative and basically assume that I'm not going to make any money with Etsy. That's kind of always my thought process because, like I said, I don't rely on it, and a majority of the time the money goes back into the supplies and the items that I need to be able to ship out. And you might be thinking, well, this isn't a very good business setup, but again, this isn't something that I'm doing to make money from necessarily. Like maybe at some point, if the Lord decides, for it to grow in that direction. But right now, being at home, being with the kids, and this just being a part-time thing, I am just happy to be able to bless people with items that will encourage them to dive deeper into the Word and to grow and flourish in their relationship with God. Truly, that is my hope. That is my prayer. Every time these packages go out, I pray that they are encouraging and blessing the people that are receiving them, and that it is helping them to steward their finances well and to seek the Lord's guidance. So I have my sales, which was about 591. Now I'm going to go through the fixed expenses. These aren't always fixed, but they're expenses that I know I'm going to have, like the Etsy fees, the shipping costs, the supplies. I also have sorry, not the supplies, the subscription. So I have a Canva subscription, and then I have that new email Flowdesk subscription that I have to account for as well. And then there's also marketing. So I do have Etsy ads, and then occasionally there's other marketing that I will do. But for this month, we only have the Etsy marketing fees, and then shipping supplies or Etsy material supplies. So that's all going to go in the supply section, and I just put a generic total there for that. And then taxes and expenses. You could also use that for savings if you do save up for your business. It just depends on how you do it. So again, you might need to put a little note in there or tweak the labels on some of these sections and categories, but hopefully the most important ones and kind of overall general category names are there for you to use. And if you wanted to use this to actually budget out, there is that column, so you can do a budget and then you can actualize it and kind of assess at the end of the month if you choose to do it that way. So I am now just taking basically our total sales, so that'd be our income minus all of the expenses, and then this is going to get us to the net profit or net income that we have, and it ended up being just under 200. But again, I purchased the printer, which was about $60, and then I will have to be purchasing more ink here soon, and I also will have to probably restock on some of my shipping supplies. Like I'm getting low on boxes. So these are all things to take into account when you are looking at setting up an Etsy shop. Thank you guys so much for being here and for watching. And again, if there is something that you right now are seeking guidance from the Lord on, and that you're praying through, and that you're hoping to get some answers, or maybe that you're taking that bold leap of faith in, I pray that you will allow the Lord to lead it, and that you will trust in His faithfulness and His goodness and His plans on your life. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you in a video soon. May the Lord bless you.